Okay, so I'm going to do an advent calendar. Today's day one, December 1st. That's how an advent calendar works. And you're probably thinking, gee, Chris, you've done this so many times before. How could you possibly do something different? What more could you possibly say about Star Wars toys? Well, guess what? A lot. Probably. I hope. Today's figure, the advent calendar one is Omega. Doesn't really matter because that's not what I'm here to talk about right now. I'm here to talk about my very first Star Wars figure that I ever got for me personally back in 1995, which is this here Chewbacca. And basically, whenever Star Wars toys started coming out again in 1995, I was already at the age where one would say you're too old for toys. You know, most kids my age had moved on to, I don't know what kids my age like, shoes, I guess. Shoes, maybe. Basketball, sure, I guess. But I still like toys. I still liked action figures. They were fun, but I had to like hide that because nobody else talked about it and you get made fun of because that's how middle school kids are. They're awful. Was that high school? It might have been high school. They might have been high school kids, but still, either way, they were awful. Um, but whenever Star Wars figures started coming out again in 1995, it was a little bit of a window where suddenly kids were like, "Oh, Star Wars, that's cool. They're collectible," and they had this kind of attitude where it was this brand new thing, even though it was technically this old thing. Um, and so I still kind of like kept it on the down low, but at least I felt comfortable talking to other people about it. So even though it wasn't my preferred toy line to get, it was my toy lines were Jurassic Park, Waterworld, Congo, things like that, like other Kenner things. I was like, okay, cool. Like my family seems more accepting of this whole Star Wars thing, and I get to talk to more people about it and get to involve more people in it. So I'll get into Star Wars toys. And so my first thought was just replacing the ones that my brother had when he was little that had been destroyed because he still had a few left over that I still have. There's a Han, there's a Luke, there's a Leia, but specifically there was a legless Chewbacca. He was missing his legs, and that always bummed me out because Han didn't have his buddy. And so the first figure I got was Chewbacca. I got Chewbacca and a TIE fighter. So, you know, for a little while Chewbacca was chilling in a TIE fighter, which was odd. Um, so yeah, he was my very first Star Wars figure in 1995. These were a little bit smaller than the normal Kenner toys I was used to playing with. These are, you know, Star Wars size. And also, if you look at them, look at those pecs. Look at those biceps. Look at that butt. I have to show the butt and the calves. He was muscular because that's the way Kenner rolled back then. And it wasn't as apparent on Chewbacca because, you know, he's a Wookiee. But there will be some other figures that I point out that it's a lot more noticeable. But this is Chewbacca. There's better Chewbacca figures out there. There's better Chewbacca figures out there. But I still love this one. And he just means a lot to me because he was the very beginning of what I thought was just going to be a casual kind of pick him up every now and then because, you know, people would actually converse about them. And I didn't feel like I had to quite be so secretive about collecting toys because people were cool with Star Wars. I had no idea what I was getting into, and it kind of still into. But he made me very happy, and he continues to make me happy, as do a lot of his friends. So here's to you, Chewbacca, my first Star Wars figure.